Well, so recording is started. Let me share my screen to you. Screen shared. Recording started. Screen shared. So please do let me know if all the three audio plus video plus screen signals are okay. Please update. All green. That's good. That's good. See, in the last class, or mainly discussion, let me open the content of day number 14 that yesterday we have done. Giving you a slight introduction, or you can say that giving you a quick revision, what exactly we did yesterday. Initially, we were talking about the value of hibernate.hbm to tll.auto, and definitely four possible values are there. The value is create, the second value is validate, the third value is update, and the fourth value is also available, that is called create drop. Default value is validate. Normally we used to go with the update. Why we used to go with the update? Because this is used to create the table. Thereafter, we were talking about entity states. This was just a quick revision. And then we were talking about the JPQL. So while having the discussion about the JPQL, we find that yes, JPQL actually allow to write the query with respect to entities. And because it allow to write the query with respect to the entities, so definitely the query generated is actually platform independent. So JPQL actually makes life easy by making the things easier for us. Then into the next part, we had discussion about definitely some examples were there. And finally, after having discussion about some examples, ultimately we come across the next topic, and definitely the next topic was all about has a relationship. This is something that is most important because I'm going to continue today from the has a relationship. Yesterday, when I was talking to you about the has a relationship, then we know it very well that in the Java programming, we are having has a relationship. Apart from the has a relationship, there is a relationship available. And in case of the has a relationship, we used to say that whenever one object contains another object, then this is what actually referred as simple has a relationship. In Java programming, definitely one object can contain another object. But on the other hand, if I'm talking about database management system, then definitely in case of database management system, concept of foreign key is available, but there is no such concept of nested table. There is no such concept of containing table. Means one table cannot contain another table in itself. So from this example, definitely it's easy to understand that sir, there is a perfect mismatch between a relational model and the Java programming model that we are using. The Java programming model is what referred as the domain model also. So relational model and domain model, they are mismatch. And in case of has a relationship, specifically this mismatch is referred as granularity mismatch. Getting my point? Specifically, this mismatching is what referred as granularity mismatch. So whenever somebody is asking you that what is the mean of granularity mismatch, simple answer you have to tell that granularity mismatch says that in case of domain model, we are having has a relationship, means one object can contain another object. But on the other hand, when the same thing comes to the relational model, then in relational model, one table cannot contain another table. This mismatch is what exactly referred as granularity mismatch. Simple definition. Now the question arises, okay, sir, there is a mismatch available, but how to handle this mismatch? Is there any way to handle the mismatch? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. And specifically, if I'm talking about the strategy to handle the mismatch, then practically there are two strategies available. And these two strategies are divided into three different cases. These two strategies are divided into three different cases. The first strategy or the first case that actually we yesterday discussed. At that time, I told you that whenever such situation takes place, then definitely for the address table, you have to use @embeddable annotation. And whenever you are using @embeddable annotation, at the same time, you cannot use @entity annotation. Why? There is simple logic. Because if somewhere you are using @entity annotation, then it is going to create a separate table. And we do not want this. We do not want this. And the field that you are creating, for the field you have to use @embedded annotation, such that the embedded annotation you have to use before the address field. This part is done. And what will be the result of the table structure, or what will be the resultant table structure? If I'm talking about the structure of the resultant table structure, then actually you will find that, sir, for the customer, we are having first column ID, that is primary key. Second, we are having his name, and third, we are having his annual income. The third thing that we are having is annual income. First part is ID, second part is name, third is annual income. So by looking at the customer table, it seems that there will be table available with the 3 columns, but this is not the case. Actually, you can see that 3 columns will be created for the customer table and 3 columns will be created for the address table. So actually the resultant table is going to contain all the 6 columns in a single table. This is what going to takes place. So can I say in case of @embedded, or in case of has a relationship? If I'm talking about, let's say that parent, I am calling it parent. Let's say in case of has a relationship, the table that is generated for the parent entity or the table that is generated for the container entity, the container entity will create all the columns for the containing object also. Getting my point? First strategy. Please update everyone. First strategy clear to everyone that you have to use @embedded annotation. And what will happen? Definitely the table will be generated only a single table. And this single table is going to contain column for container entity as well as containing entity. So total number of columns available are 6. Yesterday when we were talking about the same example, then you can see that there is one class available. The name of the class is called address class. And at the top of the address class, there is one annotation available. The name of the annotation is called @embeddable annotation. And you can refer to the documentation directly. It specifies a table whose instances are stored in intrinsic part of owning entity and share the identity of the entity. Each of the persistent properties or the field of the embedded object is mapped to database table for the entity. Same line. Same line. Then the next part, into the address we are having city, we have state, we have zip code. Then you can see that address, get set, everything is available here. On the other hand, if I'm talking about the customer, then in case of the customer, you can see one thing, that @entity, @customer, @ID, and definitely @generated value is there. In case of @generated value, strategy equal to generation type dot identity. So definitely this is going to be a simple auto increment column. ID is there, name is there, annual income is there, address is there, getter setter method is available there. Finally, into the app.java. Finally, into the app.java, you can see that there is entity manager factory. We are creating object of address, passing to the customer and saving the same. So after saving the same, then if I'm talking about the generated table structure, then nothing special. The generated table structure is going to be 100% same as what exactly we are anticipating. So let me once come to SRC main resource meta inf persistence. Name of the database is same as the project name. So control C, coming here, and I wanted to use the same database. So use granularity mismatch example. And here I'm writing show tables. When I'm writing show tables, then there is a table available customer. And for the describe customer, well, overall customer table is visible in front of us. First column is ID, second is city, third is state, fourth is zip code, fifth is annual income, and sixth is name. Thereafter, if I'm writing select star from customer, then you can see that entry is available here. So yesterday we have taken the first example of the has a relationship. So this is a small revision for you. The container class is used to have @embedded annotation, but the containing class is going to have @embeddable annotation. There will be one table generated, and definitely this table will be generated for the container entity, but the table generated for the container entity will contain all the columns for itself plus whatever being embedded in the same. This is the simple rule that you have to remember. Shall I proceed for the next case? If it is clear to you, perfect, perfect. So today I'm going to continue the same example. Today I'm going to continue with the same example, but this time I'm talking about the second case. This time I'm talking about the second case. So granularity mismatch is the same topic that I'm going to continue. If I'm talking about the case number one, then definitely case number one is something that we have already covered yesterday. You can refer to the documentation, no problem. Now let me talk about the case number two, when one customer is having more than one address, but definitely number of addresses are finite. For example, if we are talking about ourselves, then we may have different permanent address and we may have different communication address. And let's say that you are residing on the permanent address, still chances are there that company wanted to maintain your office address as well as your home address. Or for example, let's say that if we are talking about the Amazon, Flipkart kind of companies, they know it very well that not everybody is available at the home anytime. So definitely they are allow you to add home address. They allow you to address your office address also. So in this case, for example, let's say if I'm talking about the bank customer, the bank actually want to maintain the residential address. Apart from the residential address, it also want to maintain the home address. Second situation, the previous situation we have seen. In the previous situation, we wanted to maintain only one customer of the address. But the second situation is that, let's say that we are having this time a specific category of the customer, and this specific category of the customer is bank customer that actually contains the two addresses. Such that the two addresses are actually home address, and the another type of address is also available. This another type of address is actually referred as the office address. But now actually comes the scene that, okay, sir, if you are talking about the class address, then at the top of the class address, we are having at the rate embeddable, no problem. Within the class address, definitely city is there. Apart from that, state is there. And apart from the state, we are having zip code also. So practically into the class address, there is no need to make any changes. But consider that if I'm talking about the class, the name of the class is bank customer. Then into the bank customer class, if I'm writing at the rate entity, then definitely first column is available ID. This is pseudocode. I'm not writing properly. Second column is available, let's say name. Third column is available, that is called annual income. But this time, let's say that if I am talking about private address, and one thing I am writing is home address, and second thing, let's say that I am writing is going to be office address. So this time, don't you think that, sir, if we are going by simple embedded strategy, then column name will be ambiguous? Why column name will be ambiguous? Because for home address, what columns it will generate? It will try to generate column for city, then state, and then for zip code. Similarly, if I'm talking about office address, for the office address, again, it is going to generate city, state, and the next thing that it is going to generate will be zip code. And you know it very well that in a single table, every column name is required to be unique. Getting my point? What is the source of problem? Clear, everybody? Please update on chat. I need some energy in the batch. Today's strength is good. We are having 62 scholars out of 66. Now the thing arises that, sir, how to overcome the situation? Now the question that arises that, sir, how to overcome the situation? So I will say that don't worry, we have to use same at the rate embedded annotation, but actually the generated column name should be changed. What we want, generated column name should be changed. And if you wanted to change the generated column name, then there is directly hack available that actually you have to follow. But let me once open the PPT SB101 block number 25, and we are talking about PPT, and PPT for day number, is it 15? PPT for day number 15. Yeah. So see here, there is one annotation available. The name of the annotation is called at the rate overrides annotation. The name of the annotation is called at the rate override annotation. And what is the use of at the rate override annotation? If you wanted to embed one field for more than one time, then definitely column names generated will be same, which is not allowed at the MySQL level. If you wanted to generate the column names for the same entity with some different name, then you have to use @attribute overrides annotation. Shall I directly take example? Shall I directly take example? It will be better for you. So see, keep embedded as it is. No need to worry about the same. But the only thing that you have to do is here actually you need to use one more annotation. The name of the annotation is called attribute overrides annotation. How many columns are there? 3 columns are there. So how many renaming is required? Sir, all the 3 columns are required to be renamed. If all the 3 columns are required to be renamed, then definitely the same attribute I have to use for the 3 times. How I'm going to use, try to understand. First thing is name and second thing is column. Just actually focus here. Here actually I need to write down column, and into the column I have to specify the new name. So 1, 2 and 3. Again repeating, embedded is as it is. After embedded, we have to use attribute overrides. Why exactly I am using overrides? Because I am having multiple columns in the containing object. Within the attribute overrides, I am writing attribute override, and into the attribute override, the name of the first column, original name, is city. The original name of the second column is state, and the original name of third column is zip code. I wanted to rename all 3. Make sense? I want to rename all 3. So whatever be your new name is there, the new name you have to write down here. So for example, let's say that the new name that exactly I am writing is home city. Here the new name that exactly I am going to write down is going to be home state. The new name here exactly I am writing is going to be home zip code. If the same annotation I am using here, then after using the same annotation here, can I say this time I can write down this is going to be office underscore city, this is going to be office underscore state, and this is going to be office underscore zip code. So this time if I'm talking about the generated table structure, then into the generated table structure, the name of the table is definitely going to be bank customer. Into the bank customer, first column will be ID, second column is going to be name, and third column is going to be annual income. After the annual income, then for the first address, that is the home address, the first column is going to be home city, second column is going to be home state, and the third column is going to be home zip code. Similarly, for the office, the first column is going to be office city, second column is going to be office state, and third column is going to be office zip code. So simple question I am asking to you, how many tables are generated? Simple question I am asking you, how many tables are generated? Definitely only a single table is generated. In a single table, how many times address is maintained? In a single table, how many times address is maintained? Answer is 2 times. So definitely if I wanted to maintain address for the 2 time, can I create the column with same name for 2 time? Can I create a table in which 2 columns are available with same name? Answer is no. This is not possible because every column in the database table is required to be with the unique name. So what is the solution available? The solution is that forget the original name, just actually rename the columns according to your choice. So this time you can see that address field is what exactly I am providing for the 2 times. When I'm providing the same field for the 2 times, then definitely first for the home address, the name of column is going to be home underscore city, home underscore state, and home underscore zip code. If I do not use this one, then definitely by default, it will generate the name, city, state, and zip code. Getting my point now? Why I'm using attribute overrides? Everyone, this is strategy clear? 100%. Update your response. If anybody is still having any doubts, they are requested to ask. Otherwise, I will proceed for the example. Shall I proceed for example? Okay, that's good. So directly. While taking the example, again, I'm going to summarize it again. but let me come to the STS. Again, same database, everything is same I am going to use. The first thing that we are writing here is I wanted to create a class such that the name of the class that exactly I am writing is going to be the bank customer class. Within the bank customer class, within the bank customer class, first thing I am writing is, let's say that first of all, definitely I have to maintain the annotation. The name of the annotation is going to be at the rate entity annotation. Within the at the rate entity annotation, then we are talking about at the rate ID. And after talking about at the rate ID, I wanted to generate it auto increment. And definitely to generate the same thing in the form of auto increment, then we have to use at the rate generated value. Mention strategy. And into the strategy, we used to mention that this is going to be generation type dot identity. You can write down generation type dot auto also. Nobody is going to stop you. So let me import the generation type also. Then going to next part. The first field that we are writing is ID. Next thing that I'm writing is name of the customer. Then the third thing that I'm writing is, let's say this is going to be annual income. After writing annual income, definitely, I wanted to maintain information about the address. So let's say that I'm writing here private address. And initially I'm talking about home address. Initially, when I'm talking about the home address, then definitely I have to use at the rate embedded annotation. Then there is next field also available. The name of the next field is called actually office address. The next field is available here. The name of the next field is called office address. Right now, right now. For the home address, definitely the table that is, or the column name. The column name is going to be city, state, and zip code. Similarly, if I'm talking about office address, for the office address also, the column name generated will be city, state, and zip code. So don't you think that those who are not getting, I'm again summarizing. So definitely this time, if I try to create table according to this entity, then my query will be failed. It will says duplicate column name. It's very common thing that in a table, definitely two different columns cannot have same name. There is no logic of keeping them. Otherwise, how you will identify them in the select query? Because every column in the table is required to have the distinct name. So in this condition, everyone, we cannot go with the default behavior of at the rate embedded. I wanted to change the behavior, and how to change the behavior? I am having a simple solution. Better if city column should be renamed to home underscore city. Better if city should be renamed to home underscore city. Better if state should be actually renamed to home underscore state. Similarly, better if zip code should be renamed to home underscore zip code. Same practice we can continue if the city should be renamed with office underscore city. And similarly, if I'm talking about the state, then state should be renamed to office underscore state, and zip code should be renamed to office underscore zip code. Make sense, everybody? If I can rename the column in the table generation, then definitely life will be easy. Overall, database will have no objection, no matter whether data type is same or different. If the column names are different, then this is okay for us. And how to implement this behavior? To implement this behavior, we have to use at the rate attribute overrides. Within the attribute overrides, then we have to mention at the rate attribute override. Into the attribute override, one attribute is available name and second attribute is available. This attribute is called column. The name is used to contain original name. The name is used to contain original name, and whenever we wanted to rename the column, then to rename the column, we have to use at the rate column annotation. I think this thing is remember to you. At the rate table annotation, at the rate column annotation. Those who have done assignment, at least for them. So for the column, we are writing the value. Again, into the column, there is one attribute available. The name of the attribute is called name attribute. And I wanted to generate the new name. So new name is going to be home underscore city. So first data is done. On the same track, can we go for the next data? Answer is yes, we can go for the next data also. On the same track, can we go for the zip code also? Answer is yes, we can go for the zip code also. We can go for the zip code also. So three things I have done here, and definitely this will do the job for me. The same thing I have to apply for at the rate embedded also. And this time, definitely instead of home, it will be good to talk about office, city, office, state, and office zip code. Now clear everyone how to rename the column at the time of table generation, especially when you are using at the rate embedded annotation. Okay, so if this part is done, then definitely it will be good to generate the constructor from the superclass because a default constructor is required in the entity. Thereafter, if you wanted to generate the constructor from the field, definitely you can generate. ID is not required because it is auto increment. If you wanted to generate the getter setter method, definitely you can have the getter and setter methods also. While having the getter setter method, they are also generated. Later on, if you wanted to generate the state and city, then definitely a two string method. Then you can generate the two string method also. So this is one part that actually I am talking. Now coming to the app.java part. Into the app.java part, this is something that we already done in the last class. I am commenting this, and this time, I'm talking about the next entity. So let me talk about Mr. Bank Customer this time. So I am writing bank customer, bank cust equal to new bank customer. So for example, let's say that if I'm talking about name. So name, for example, let's say I'm writing some ABC. Annual income, let's say that I'm writing 6.9. Then I need to insert an object of address. So better to create object of address. So while creating the object of address, we are writing home address equal to new address. And definitely into the address, the very first thing that I need to write down is going to be city. So this is home address. Let's say that I'm writing it's Jaipur, and then I'm writing this is going to be Rajasthan, and zip code is an integer value. So I have written some zip code here. Then similar thing I have copied, and this time I'm talking about the next address. The next address is going to be the office address. And let's say that I'm writing here, this is going to be Bangalore, state is going to be Karnataka, and zip code is going to be somewhat this one. This is what zip code actually we are having. And then the same home address I am specifying here, and the same office address I am specifying here. Semicolon. After semicolon, into the em dot persist method we are calling, and into the persist method I am going to save the detail about the bank customer. Getting everyone how this is moving on? Shall I try to run this code and show the query to you? Let me open the MySQL. On the MySQL before execution, if I'm talking about show tables, only one table is available. Right now, I am doing the right click, run as Java application. Let it run, full screen it is. And on the full screen, initially, let me talk about the queries. They might not be visible to you so much properly here. So first, Hibernate is creating table customer. I'm formatting create table bank customer ID integer not null auto increment. Annual income float not null. Home city, home state, and then there is home zip code. Strategy successful? Yes or no? Everyone, strategy successful? Yes or no? Then primary key is there, and definitely engine is something that is not required because on the MySQL by default it is InnoDB. Similarly, then can you see that, well, alter query is something that is not so much significant. Then there is insert query available. So when you are having finite number of addresses and you wanted to create a single table, then apart from at the rate embedded, you have to use at the rate attribute overrides annotation, and using the attribute overrides annotation, you can rename the column name also. This is the ultimate thing that I wanted to make you understand. Clear everyone? Perfect. That's good. So now slightly comfortable with how to maintain the hazard relationship. Yesterday we have taken one example. Today we have done slight revision, and today we have done another example. If still anybody is facing any difficulty in the granularity mismatch, please do let me know. One scholar is asking to show the table data. That's good. It's a good happen. So let's say that I'm writing, see, show tables. In case of show tables, we are having bank customer table, and thereafter I am writing here select star from bank customer semicolon. Please check. Office city Bangalore, office state Karnataka, office zip code 53006. home state, Rajasthan, etc., etc. So every information is maintained here. So second case is also covered for you. Now I'm coming to third case. When actually one customer is having more than one address, but says that number of addresses are not finite. We don't know how many addresses we need to maintain. So this time, isn't it better to use the foreign key relationship? When you don't know that how many entries are there, so definitely in a single table, you cannot create infinite columns for the addresses. So what is the possible solution? We will create a, or we want Hibernate to create a separate table for customer and separate table for the address. Into the address table, if customer ID is working as a foreign key, then definitely we will be able to establish one-to-many relationship. And even if a customer is having 2 addresses, or even if a customer is having 20 addresses, we don't take care because our database design is now flexible enough to handle such demand. Getting my point? What is the third case? Shall I proceed? Take example. Hmm. So example that I told you yesterday, that let's say that if I'm talking about the defaulter customers in the terms of bank. So yesterday I told you that even if bank is not having your all previous addresses, still on the behalf of PAN card, whatever addresses so far recorded into the banking system, they can be fetched, and on behalf of this, legal notice can be sent. So if I'm talking about a defaulter, then definitely a loan defaulter may have a single address. He can have the 2 addresses, he can have the 20 addresses, he can have the 100 addresses. Possibility is there. Getting my point? So now I'm going to the case number 3. And when I'm talking about the case number 3, so in case of case number 3, we have to make slight changes. And because we wanted to create a separate table. And if you wanted to create a separate table, so this time attribute overrides is not going to work for you. But we are having a second annotation, and this annotation is actually referred as the @element collection annotation. So what exactly we will do? First of all, we are going to maintain multiple addresses. Because we are going to maintain multiple addresses, so definitely it will be good to use set. Yes or no? This time, I want to maintain multiple addresses of the defaulter customer. And definitely every address is required to be unique. So it is better to maintain the information about the addresses into the set. Make sense? Not getting? Shall I repeat? Simple logic. Simple logic. I'm saying you this time, see, let me again come back to the notepad. So I'm saying it this time when one customer is having more than one addresses. So for example, let's say that if I am talking about the defaulter customer, let's say that I'm talking about the defaulter customer. In case of the defaulter customer, definitely multiple addresses are possible. If I'm talking about the entity class defaulter customer, ID is there, name is there, and apart from the name, definitely annual income is also there. But if I'm talking about the address, then definitely I don't know that how many addresses will be available there. So creating a single object of address is not advisable because it is going to store ultimately only a single address. Because I wanted to store multiple, so definitely in this condition, better to create a set. Yes or no? This point clear, everybody? In the entity class, it is better to create a set. And definitely you know the nature of the set. That set is used to contain all the distinct element. Yes or no? And how exactly set determine whether the element is distinct or not? Definitely by mean of hash code and equals method. Remember J111, day number 1314, where they were telling you that into the set how exactly elements are spotted. So to spot the duplicate element, we have to talk about the hash code as well as we have to talk about the equals method. So this time, 2 addresses are same or not to identify the same thing. If I'm talking about the address class, then in the address class, it will be good to provide the definition of hash code and equals method. First point clear? So the thing is that provide the definition of hash code and equals method. This is the one point that exactly I am writing. Now, actually, if you are creating this thing, and definitely if you are writing @embedded annotation, then this time writing only at the rate embedded annotation is not sufficient. Why this is not sufficient? Because your database is unable to find out what is the table structure for a set. Getting my point? If you are writing at the rate embedded only, then your database will not be able to spot how to create a table structure. So this time actually, because we wanted to create a separate table to store the addresses, so that's why we have to use one more annotation. The name of the annotation is called at the rate element collection annotation. Getting my point all? How to do this thing? Now, when actually Hibernate will generate the table structure. So Hibernate actually will create the one table. The name of the table is going to be definitely defaulter customer table. Into the defaulter customer table, it will have ID, it will have name, and apart from the name, it is going to have the annual income. One more table will be generated. Name of the table is going to be address table or defaulter customer address table. Let it be generated. This time, we will have city, we will have state, and apart from the state, we are going to have the zip code also. But there will be one more column available. The name of the column is going to be defaulter customer underscore ID, which is going to work as a foreign key into the address table. Now clear everybody? What is the advantage of using at the rate element collection with at the rate embedded, and when to use this? Clear or not? Case number 3. Shall I take example? Yes, it is. That's good. That's good. That's good. So at the rate element collection. So you can see that ORM software will generate a separate table to maintain the information. The foreign key column is used to create the association, and join operation will be used to fetch the data. That's all. This is the only thing that you have to remember. Let me come to STS. I'm coming to STS, and I'm creating one new table. The name of the table, I'm creating a new class. The name of the class is going to be bank customer, or oh sorry, default customer is the name that exactly I am writing. Then actually you can see that defaulter customer is there. There is no interface to implement. Then I'm going to directly, well, the Zoom floating panels are there. This class is created. The very first thing I have to write down here is going to be at the rate entity. After writing here at the rate entity, definitely at the rate ID is a common annotation that I'm writing. Then I'm writing here integer ID. Because the ID column is required to be auto increment, so definitely I have to use at the rate generated value. Then I have to talk about the strategy, and definitely at the rate generated value. Then I have to talk about strategy, such that the value of strategy is going to be generation type dot identity. You can use generation type dot auto also. You can use generation type dot auto also, no problem. It will work for you. Generation. Is that okay? Yeah, working. Perfect. Perfect. ID is available. Apart from the ID, it will be good to talk about the name. And apart from the name, it will be good to talk about, let's say that double. And into the double, again, I am writing about one thing that is called annual income. Then one thing I'm writing is at the rate embedded annotation, and then I'm writing here private. Then definitely we are talking about set. Definitely we are talking about set, and we are talking about set of address, and here I'm writing address is equal to new hash set. Let me import the set also. Let me import the hash set is already imported. At the rate embedded is here. Apart from that, I have to use one more annotation. The name of the annotation is called at the rate element collection. The at the rate element collection is actually used to create a separate table. So now let me generate default constructor. So let me generate the default constructor from the superclass. It's generated. Let me generate the default constructor, sorry, constructor user. Everyone, audio video signals are okay? I got disconnected. Now okay? Yes, I got disconnected. Actually, there is power cut, and suddenly due to power cut, Wi-Fi is off. I have switched my internet connection to alternative one. That's good. So now this part or the first part is actually done. Now let me talk about the next case. Defaulter customer, okay, constructor is generated, this dot addresses, everything is good. Then I wanted to generate the getter setter method. Getter setter methods are also generated here. Okay, this part is also done. So listen everyone, getter setter methods are here, defaulter customer is here, set is here. First part we have done. Now I'm coming to the next entity, or let me talk about the app.java class. Into the app.java class, this is the case number 2. I'm making it comment. Again, this is the case number 2. I'm making it comment. After making everything comment, then I'm going to next section. See, this time, definitely I have to create an entity for the default customer. I will provide the name also. I will provide the, let's say that name also as well as annual income also. But if I'm talking about the address, this time address is not a single object. Address is a set. Yes, it is. So let me try to do the same in front of you. So defaulter customer DEFCUST equal to new defaulter customer. First one written. Then for the defaulter customer, then I'm writing here defaulter customer dot. I wanted to say set name. This time I'm using setter method. Well, I don't know why I'm using setter method, but I'm using. Hmm. Set name. So let's say that name I'm writing is ABC. Then I'm talking about the set annual income. And let's say that annual income I'm writing is 8.9. Thereafter, I wanted to create a set or I wanted to add. So this time see how exactly I am doing the same. Can you see this method and this calling? Comfortable with this one? Everyone comfortable with this one? First of all, I am getting the set of addresses into the set of addresses. Then I am adding the things one by one. Yes or no? Zip codes are completely random. They are not real. If resemblance to any, then it might be a coincidence. First of all, initially, an object of default customer entity class is created. After creating the object of default customer, then there is one more thing available that is called set name and set annual income. Both the things are done. After setting the name and setting the annual income, then actually I have added the three addresses, and after adding the three addresses, then again I have to call em.persist, and into the em.persist I have to call default customer. Shall we try to run it? Third strategy, right click, run as Java application. Queries are there. So initially it will be good to talk about the queries. Let me come to Mr. Notepad. And when I'm coming to Mr. Notepad, so let me talk about the queries one by one. Queries might display into the random order. Do not think that, sir, there is no create table. How alter table can be executed? Your point is logical, but query might be printed in the jumbled order. So initially, everyone, the very first thing, if I'm talking about the create table query, then for the create table query, you can see that create table defaulter customer ID integer not null auto increment annual income is there, then definitely name is there, and such that ID is working as a primary key. This is the first table that actually we have. Thereafter, thereafter, there is uh, one more table is there. The name of the table is called create table defaulter customer underscore addresses. So can you see that it is entity class name underscore at the rate embedded collection field name? Yes or no? The name of new generated table is entity class name, that is default underscore default customer underscore at the rate element collection field name, such that the at the rate element collection field name, the at the rate element collection field name is addresses. So same name is used here. Make sense how exactly the table name is generated? For the addresses, the table name is going to be main entity name underscore whatever be your field name is there. Then definitely default customer underscore ID. So see, ID is here, default customer underscore ID. Don't you think that it is working as a foreign key? Yes, it is. State is there, zip code is there, and definitely engine is NODB, let it be as it is. Right now, actually, there is no foreign key relationship, but actually you can see that the third query is available. Alter table default customer underscore address is add constraint. The name of the constraint is slightly complicated. Then foreign key, the foreign key is applied on the default customer underscore ID. Reference is name of the parent table is default customer and name of the primary key column or name of the reference column is ID. This is the same way we used to create the foreign key relationship. Remember? Yes, it is. So at the rate element collection says that create a separate table. Simple logic. At the rate element collection says that do not embed the columns into the same table, but create a separate table to store the embedded columns. Getting my point? These two queries, they are not very much important for us. We can skip them. Apart from that, insert is available. And after the C, how many insert queries are available for the default customer? Only one. How many insert queries are available for the default customer addresses? 3. Because how many addresses I was saving? 3 addresses I was saving there. So let me come here again. I'm writing here show tables. Can you see there is a table available default customer? Yes. So definitely let's say I am writing DESC default customer. Thereafter the next point that exactly I am writing is DESC default customer underscore addresses. Structure is 100% same. It is working as foreign key. Yes, it is. Let me talk about the next case. So we are writing select star from default customer, and then I am writing select star from default customer underscore addresses semicolon hitting enter. Please check if all the entries are maintained properly or not. Please check if these entries are maintained properly or not. Perfect or not? Working or not? Do let me know. Perfect, everyone. At least update your response. Why you are so silent? Okay. So this is the first case of mapping that exactly we have done. So in case of has a mapping, final summarization, final call. One scholar is asking, listen everyone, there is one doubt. I do not wanted to name the scholar. It doesn't matter. Per customer, it will generate one table. Do you think this is logical to ask this question? Read the question, please. Simple logic. Customer is a table available. In the customer table, if I'm talking about a single record, then a single record is representing one customer. Yes or no? Customer is a table available. In the customer table, every record is presenting one single customer. Simple logic, answer is yes. Then talking about the next part is that if I'm talking about the address table, then address table is containing address for every customer. Yes or no? And how the relationship is maintained? The relationship is maintained using the foreign key. The relationship is maintained using the foreign key. So for example, let's say this time, if I'm talking about the next customer, let's say this time, if I'm talking about the next customer, I wanted to save the next customer. Then for the next customer, definitely entry will be into the customer table again. And his addresses will be saved into the default customer underscore addresses table because new ID will be generated for the new customer. So definitely new addresses will be there. For example, let's say that I am changing the name to BCD. Annual income I am changing to 9.8. Thereafter, if I'm talking about the get address, then into the address. Let me actually just shuffle the order, or let me change here. For example, let's say that here I'm talking about the city. The name of the city is Jodhpur. Name of the state is Rajasthan. Zip code, some random value. Thereafter, again, I'm talking about the next city. Let's say that the name of the next city that I'm writing is Prayagraj. State is UP. Then some random zip code is available. Here I'm talking about the next city. The name of the city is called Chandigarh, and the name of the state is going to be Punjab. Zip code is something different. Saving this file, right click, running as Java application. So definitely after running it in the form of Java application, again, if I'm writing both. So now clear everyone, every customer detail is going to be saved in the customer table. The table is not per customer, the table is for all the customers. And this is simple foreign key relationship. Well, so finally, just actually quick summarization of the has a relationship. Just a quick summarization. What is granularity mismatch? We have already discussed. If actually you wanted to maintain only one entry, or you wanted to maintain only one embeddable field, then to maintain only one embeddable field, directly you have to use @embedded and you have to use @embeddable annotation. This is the point number one. The generated table structure is going to have all the columns of the container entity plus all the columns of the containing entity. This is the simplest strategy. If you are having more than one columns to add, or let's say that if you are having the same field to be embedded for more than one time, then in this condition, @embeddable, @embedded, they will be same. But because we know it very well that in a single table, you cannot create. In a single table, you cannot create more than one column with the same name. So this is not possible. Yes, it is not possible. So in this condition, we have to embed the same columns, but with a different name. To rename the same columns, we have to use @attribute overrides. And into the @attribute overrides, we have to use @attribute override annotation. Name is used to contain the original name, but definitely using the column annotation, using the column attribute @column annotation, we can provide the new name also. The same thing we have to do for, let's say that home address. The same thing we are doing for is the city address. This time, if I'm talking about the generated table structure, then into the generated table structure, all the columns of the container class will be there, plus columns of embedded class will be there, such that if you have embedded the same class for the two times, then definitely same columns will be generated for the two times with the new name. This is the second case. The common thing among the case 1 and case 2 is that a single table is getting generated. For case 1 and case 2, the common thing is that only a single table is generated. Then I'm talking about the third case. But before talking about third case, the first two cases are clear, everybody? Just simple. @embeddable, @embedded, @attribute override. That's all. Yes, it is. Then if I'm talking about the third case, when you are having the customer, such that customer can have multiple addresses, but we don't know that how many columns are there or how many entities will be embedded there. So in this condition, definitely it will be great practice to create a separate table. And if you wanted to create a separate table, then in this case, @embedded, @embeddable, definitely it will be 100% same. But the only thing is you have to create a separate table, and to create a separate table, you have to use @embedded collection. For this thing, you have to use @embedded collection. And when you are using @embedded collection, then definitely you have to maintain a set. Here actually one mistake we made. The only mistake that we made is into the address table. We forgot to override the hash code and equals method. So we can stick to default implementation. Getting everybody why it is important to override the hash code and equals method for the set? I think clear for all. Yes, it is. So this is the only change that I have done here. Default implementation is okay, no problem. Because how you will match the two addresses? Sir, address, we have to match everything. There is no other way. Based on the plot number, we cannot match. Based on the city, we cannot match. We have to match all the three combinations. Then only it will work. So set we have created, and thereafter this time, definitely for the container entity, there will be separate table. For the embedded entity, there will be a different table, and everything is going to take place with the help of join operations. Getting my point? Third case is also clear. Yes, it is. That's great. That's great. That's great. Now let me come to the PPT again. And while coming to the PPT again, you can see that there is one more facility available to you. The facility is that if you are not happy with the default table name, default column name. Then you are having option 2, provide something from your own. Yes, you are having options. And how to do the same job? To do the same job, there is one annotation available. The name of the annotation is called at the rate join table. And there is one more annotation. The name of the annotation is called join column annotation. Using at the rate join table, you will be able to change the generated table name. Using join column, you will be able to generate the different foreign key column name. Getting my point? What is the mean of different foreign key column name? Because in this case, if I'm talking about the default table name, then the default table name was defaulter customer underscore addresses. The name of the foreign key column was defaulter customer underscore ID. This is something that was generated by default. This is something that was generated by default. So you can see that if I'm talking about the default table name, then definitely default table name is going to be this one. Then everyone, if I'm talking about the name of the foreign key column name, then the name of the foreign key column name was defaulter customer underscore ID. This is what actually by default it is doing. If you are not happy with these names, you are saying that no, I do not wanted to continue with this name. I wanted to specify my own. You can specify, no problem. You have to use two annotations. One of the annotation that you have to use is at the rate join table, and another annotation that you wanted to use is called at the rate join column annotation. So you can see to to change the generated table name and foreign key column name, we have to use at the rate join table and at the rate join column annotations. How to do this stuff? So please, we have to directly come here. Not into the address class, not into the customer class is not useful. Persistence.xml, this is right now not useful. Yeah, I am available into the defaulter customer. Into the defaulter customer, one thing is available that is called element collection. Here actually I have to use one annotation. The name of the annotation is called join table annotation. Into the join table annotation, first thing I have to specify is name of the column, name of the new table. I have to specify name of the new table. Let's say that name of the new table I am writing is def underscore cust underscore address. This is name of the new table. Default name was default customer underscore addresses, but now this time the name of the generated table is going to be def underscore customer underscore addresses. This is the first point. Second thing, you need to specify join columns. For the join columns, there is next annotation available. The name of the annotation is called join column annotation. The name of the annotation is called join column annotation. And into the join column annotation, there is one field available. One second, join column or join columns at the rate join column. I'm talking about the next thing that is called the join column. And into the join column, I have to specify what exactly this column definition equal to. Just a minute. We are writing cust underscore ID. At the rate join column, specify a column for joining the entity. Specify the name of, one second. Specify a column for joining the entity association or entity collection. If the join column annotation itself is default, a single column is assumed to be default. Apply. How to use this? Join column, then there is name available. Into the name we have to specify. So why exactly name was not displayed here? Well, okay. Again repeating, this time let me come to entity class, and into the entity class I am into the app.java. Name of the customer I am writing is CDE. This time if I'm talking about the address, and let's say that address I am writing is Gurugram, and this belongs to state Haryana. Then I'm writing 1234556 some zip code. Then I'm going to next. Let's say that into the next state I'm talking about the Kochi. Pardon if state name is wrong, but maybe possible. Then I'm talking about the next state. Let's say that the next state that I'm writing is, for example, Bhubaneswar. And here I'm writing this is going to be state name Odisha. Then some zip code I'm writing random, again random value. Right click, run as Java application. And after running in the form of Java application, this time, can you see the create table such that one table is generated with the name default underscore customer underscore address? Yes or no? Into this, can you see that there is one column available customer ID, such that the same customer ID is actually referring as a foreign key? Clear or not, everybody? The same thing is working as a foreign key. Okay, so if you wanted to generate the table with the new name, you can generate. Again, I am coming to MySQL. After coming to MySQL, show tables. Can you see there is a table available, default customer address? Yes, it is. If I'm talking about DESC, into the DESC, if I'm writing default customer address semicolon, then you can say customer ID is there, city is there, state is there, and zip code is there. Thereafter, if I am writing select star from default customer addresses, then again I am writing that is select star from the next table, that is called bank customer. Oh, please check everyone. Not customer. Sometime even I am writing wrong table name. I am writing wrong table name. This one, right click, then paste and hitting enter. Finally. So third customer detail is same as what we have already specified. Customer name CDE, annual income 9.8, auto generated ID is 3. Then there is one more table available. The name of the table is called default customer addresses table. Into the default customer addresses table, we have customer ID, city, state, and zip code. So overall, simple pointer is there. If you wanted to generate the table name according to your own choice, then definitely you have to use @join table. Clear or not? Shall I proceed for next? Today my batch is not as excited as it was yesterday. Yesterday everybody was feeling at home, very much comfortable. Today's situation is slightly changed. Okay, so far we have done with the insert queries only. So far we have done with the insert queries only. Shall we go for some next queries, that is for select query also? It will be good, I think. It will be good to talk about some select query also. So this time, see, I'm taking the third case. I'm taking the third case. Let's say that I wanted to find out the detail of the customer, and after finding the detail of the customer, then I wanted to print their addresses also. To fetch the detail of a specific customer, I can use the find method also. Apart from the find method, I can use JPQL statement also. Yes or no? Both things are possible. Yesterday, if you have done assignments, JPQL statements are also there. And apart from the JPQL statement, find method is also there. Now let me talk about the JPQL statement. If I wanted to create the JPQL statement, then for example, let's say I am writing string query equal to. So what exactly I am writing from? What is the name of the entity class? The name of the entity class is default customer. In short, I am writing DC, and thereafter I am writing where. Into the where I am writing ID equal to colon ID. And here definitely it will be good to write down select DC from default customer where ID equal to this one. Using the EM, definitely I have to call the method. The name of the method is going to be create query method. Into the same create query method, I am passing the parameter. What exactly it is going to provide me? It is going to provide me an object of query interface. Let me write down here JPQL query. It will be good. This part is done. Then into the query, there is what it is saying cannot convert. Mistake. Mistake. I have to import Jakarta dot persistence. I have to import Jakarta dot persistence. Okay. Using this query, then definitely I have to call the set parameter method. Into the set parameter method, I wanted to provide for value column ID, and definitely the value is required to be 3. These 3 lines clear to everyone? Remember? Yes, it is. And once this part is done, then definitely query dot set parameter is done. Using this query, can I call the get single result? Yes or no? Because it is guaranteed that I'm going to have only a single record. And definitely if I'm talking about the object available, then definitely object available is going to be this one. The object available is going to be this one, but definitely I have to perform the downcasting also. After performing downcasting, now this DC is available to me. But because I wanted to get address of this person also, so definitely to get the address, can I call the get addresses method? Yes or no? Okay. And after calling the get addresses method, then can we iterate the for loop on the same? Yes or no? And once the for loop is getting executed, then in this condition, whatever information you wanted to print, you can print. Make sense, everyone? How this is going on? I'm using the default toString method. I'm using the default toString method. And here initially for this customer, what I wanted to print, initially let's say that I wanted to print the ID. After printing the ID, let's say that I wanted to print the name. And after printing the name, that let's say that I wanted to print the annual income also. And finally here actually we are printing the address. Into the address, definitely first thing we are printing is the city. Then the next thing that it will be good to print is going to be the state. And after state, finally the thing that actually we are printing is going to be zip code. This is what point exactly I'm having. See, simple select queries are there, but there is an important message. Please focus very carefully. Right click, run as Java application, and the application is executed. Output is also printed. Output is also printed. Take a look at the highlighted part only. In this highlighted part, first of all, can you see that there is a select query available only on the default customer table? Yes or no? First case, initially the query is fired only on the default customer table. Then whatever be the detail about the customer is, it is printed. After printing the detail about the customer, can you see the next thing? Such that it is now firing query on the address table also, and then it is printing all the addresses later on. What is special here? What is special here? Just try to understand. This is the first case. This is the first case. Let me show you everything comparison by comparison. So I'm talking about the first case. Into the first case, when I was talking to you about this complete portion. Done, done, done. Case number one. Into the case number one, actually what is going on, first we are fetching the detail about the customer. Then after fetching the detail about the customer, then we are fetching the detail about the addresses also. And after fetching the detail about the addresses, finally, we can see that first query is executed to get the detail from the customer table. The second query is getting executed to get the detail about the addresses. For case number one. Now let me talk about the case number two. For the case number two, let's say this line is commented. This time, can I say that actually we are fetching detail of the customer only? Yes or no? This time, can I say that we are fetching the details of the customer only? Answer is yes. Let me try to run this query running as Java application. When I'm running the same query as Java application, is there any query available to fetch the detail of address? Is there any query available to fetch the detail of address? Answer is no. Answer is no. So, okay, this was the case number two. Into the case number two, what exactly you did? You are actually talking about only this portion where actually you are fetching the detail only about the customer. You are not fetching any detail about the customer, about the addresses. This time, if I'm talking about the generated query, then definitely the generated query is actually fetching detail only for customer. So don't you think that Mr. Hibernate is very lazy? Why I'm calling him lazy? Because there are two tables available. The first table is the customer table or default customer table. Can I call default customer table as a parent table because it is containing primary key? Yes or no? Similarly, if I'm talking about the address table, can I say that the address table is actually a simple child table because it is containing the foreign key? structure is available in front of you. This time, if I'm talking about the default customer table, then definitely the default customer table is working as a parent table. On the other hand, if I'm talking about addresses table, the addresses table is working as a child table, and my Hibernate is actually very, very lazy. Why exactly it is very, very lazy, or how exactly it is very, very lazy? Just try to understand. If I'm talking about the behavior of the above case number one, then into the case number one, specifically, if I'm talking about code when it is executed only till this line, then can you see right now it is generating the query only to fetch the detail from the customer. So far, it has not generated any query to fetch the addresses also. Yes or no? You can verify from the output also, because here I am writing system.out.println, and you can see that till system.out.println only query is executed for the default customer table. Then what happens when this get addresses method is called? Then your Hibernate says, okay, you need data from the child table also, so I'm going to execute the query. So can we say that it is fetching the record from the child table only on behalf of on demand basis? It is not fetching anything in advance. Yes or no? Everybody comfortable with this discussion? Please be prompt on the chat. Yes, it is. So always keep in mind, Hibernate is lazy by default. Whenever there is association available, whenever there is mapping available, then always it says that I will do the job only when it is required. Otherwise, I will not do this. And definitely this is a good practice. Yes or no? Because if there is 4 level of associations available and Hyper is fetching everything in the advance, then don't you think that it will be time consuming, as well as keeping all these objects into the memory is not a good habit. Yes or no? Because you may ultimately end up with out of memory exception. Make sense, everyone? It is very much like stream in Java was lazy. Here Hibernate is also lazy. Getting? And we all are also lazy. When deadline is there, then only we used to do the job. Common thing. So Hibernate is by default lazy, and it says that I will load the data from the other related tables if and only if it is required. Otherwise, I will not do this. Let's say in a specific situation, if you are not happy with this behavior and you want no, I want all the data in the advance, then no problem. You can ask Hibernate to do the same job for you. And if you want Hibernate to do the same job for you, then actually you have to use one more thing that is called eager loading. You have to do one more thing in this case, and this thing is what exactly referred as the eager loading. So this time, let's say that I am uncommenting the same line, and after uncommenting the same line, I am going to the default customer. After going to the default customer, there is one more thing available. There is one more thing available, and this thing is called actually fetch. Just a second. Fetch. So, yes, into the element collection. I have to use one more thing that is called fetch. And into the fetch, I'm writing here, this is going to be fetch type dot. Can you see two values, eager and lazy? Such that if I am writing eager, means all data has to be loaded in advance, no matter whether it is useful or not. No matter whether it is useful or not. So see this time, I am writing element collection fetch equal to fetch type dot eager. This time, let's say that this code is commented again. So can I say right now, actually, I have asked Hibernate to fetch data only from the default customer table? Yes or no? Practically, I have asked Hibernate to fetch the data only from the customer table, not from the address table. But the thing is that into the element collection, I have specified the fetch type equal to eager. Because the value of fetch type equal to eager, so let us try to run this application and see what exactly the queries are doing. So please check the two queries. Into the first query, I am getting the data from the default customer. Into the second query, I am getting the data from the default customer address table, such that I was actually demanding data only from the parent table, but because the value of fetch is fetch type dot eager, that's why it is fetching all the data in advance. Now clear, everyone? What is the role of this fetch type is? By default, the value of fetch type is lazy. But if you wanted to change the behavior, then you can change the behavior also. And this is what actually referred as eager loading. So finally, what is the summarization of this? Please read this thing from the PPT. I'm giving you time. Have you done, everybody? What is difference between eager loading and lazy loading? Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes, it is. So this is what exactly your granularity mismatch is. Very small topic, only 2 slides, but lot of examples. Then we are heading toward the next type of setting or next type of mismatch. The next type of mismatch is actually referred as inheritance mismatch, or there is mismatch between the is a relationship. Everyone? Well, just actually I am asking a simple question to you. How many of you are thinking that C4 evaluation is going to be easy? Anybody here? No reply? Nobody? I think everybody agree with this statement that sir C4 evaluation is going to be very easy. But there is one thing that is very important that inheritance mismatch is very difficult. What I was telling you, please do let me know. Audio video signals are okay. Power restored. I have changed my internet connection. Now okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. So listen, everybody. Few scholars are writing very good suggestion. One scholar is writing, it is subjected to you. If you want, then definitely evaluation will be easy. Aha, aha. Very good. But everyone, I think from the previous paper, particularly aspirant 1 paper, if still you are hopeful from my side, then I will say that really you are not living on this planet. I hope you are getting what I wanted to convey you. Those who are acing, especially, they are 100% hopeless from my side. Well, again, same thing. Assignment is going to be the key. See, whatever we are covering into the aspirant 4, definitely everything will be part of your evaluation. We have started from the JPQL, we have started from the entity state. Then actually we were talking about has a relationship. Apart from the has a relationship, now I'm going to talk about is a relationship. And tomorrow I'm talk to you about the association mapping. So everything will be part of your curriculum. Assignment is the key. Do the assignment and your evaluation will be very easy for you. Those who are not doing the assignment, don't be hopeless. Directly you can declare that there is nothing for you. So coming back, assignment is the key here. Assignment was the key in JA111. Assignment will be the key in SB201 also. Assignment will be the key in placement papers also. Assignment is the key for everything. In JA111 also, now the assignment level start increasing. You people were slightly, might be unlucky that you clear it before making it tough. Okay, so coming back, there is next case, inheritance mismatch. So simple. Initially, I'm going to do some theoretical discussion with you. And after making some theoretical discussion, but before taking example, definitely we will go for break. Don't worry, your break is safe in my pocket, but it will be delivered to you on time. I will give you some time to digest also. See, again, next example. If we are talking about the domain model, that is Java object-oriented programming, then definitely the domain model or the Java object-oriented programming actually says that we support the concept of inheritance. If I'm talking about the concept of inheritance, then it says a very, very simple thing that inheritance is a mechanism by which one object acquires the properties of another object. Okay, happy, no problem. Whenever you are defining a superclass, then definitely all the variables of superclass, all the methods of superclass, they are available in the subclass. Perfectly okay. But if I'm talking about MySQL, in MySQL, do you have any such facility of super table, subtable? Answer is no. There is no concept of super table, subtable in case of MySQL database. So again, there is a mismatch. Your domain model says that we are having some X facility, but your database model says that I do not have this facility. So again, there is a mismatch available. And this mismatch is simply referred as is a mismatch, or simple, this is referred as the inheritance mismatch. Definition is clear. What is the meaning of inheritance mismatches? Yes, it is. Then after talking about the inheritance mismatch, see, at object level, we have is a relationship possible, exist. But at the table level, we don't have is a relationship. To address this, the JPA specification actually provides several strategies. There are 4 strategies available. The first strategy is actually referred as the single table strategy. Second is joint table strategy. Third is called table per class strategy. And fourth is available mapped superclass strategy. We will discuss about all the 4 strategies. This topic is not big. Has a relationship was something big topic. Lot of combinations were there. Here comparatively we have less number of combinations. Each strategy result in a different database structure. Note, entity inheritance means that we can use polymorphic queries for retrieving all the subclass entities when querying for the superclass. What is the mean? What is the mean of this? Just try to understand. See, let me talk about, well, it will be good to discuss about this example, this statement with case by case. First of all, one scholar is actually commenting that voice signals are not okay. Others, please update. Audio video signals are okay. Okay, it is. Mostly it is okay. Hardly for 1 or 2 scholars, it is the case that it is lagging. But mostly it is okay. Okay, no problem. No problem. So I'm going to discuss to you about strategies such that the strategy is first strategy that is called single table strategy. What is the mean of this single table strategy is, again, let me come to the notepad. Again, let me come to the notepad, and I'm talking about the very first strategy. The very first strategy is called single table strategy. So just actually try to understand with the help of a very, very simple example. Just with the help of a very, very simple example, I'm actually giving it another name, and the another name is actually table per hierarchy. What is the meaning of this table per hierarchy is just simple word. For example, let's say that there is a class available. The name of the class is called human. And definitely this class is a entity class. Into the entity class, for example, let's say that you are talking about some of the field. The first field you are writing is ID. Then you are writing, for example, let's next field that is called name. And the third field you are writing is this is called double weight. Okay. Getter setter method, everything is available here. Let it be. Then I'm talking about next class, such that the name of the next class, what I'm writing is employee class, such that the employee class actually extends the human class. And if I'm talking about the subclass, then definitely subclass is also an entity class. Whenever I'm talking about employee, then definitely for an employee, it will be good to discuss about salary. Apart from talking about the salary, definitely we can talk about the organization also. We can talk about the organization also. Then getter setter method, everything is available here. Then I'm talking about again one more thing. The name of the thing is called entity, and this time I'm talking about the student, such that student actually again extends the human. And whenever I'm talking about the student, then for the student, definitely we can talk about, let's say, course. You can take marks also, no problem. Nobody's going to stop you. Apart from that, it will be good to talk about institution name. This time it will be good to talk about institution name. So listen, can I say that, sir, whatever columns or whatever attribute available into the human, definitely they will be available to employee also, as well as they will be available to the student also. Yes or no? Simple logic. Whatever attribute that is available into the human, definitely they are available for employee also, as well as they are available for student also. This time, please read this name very, very carefully. The name is table per hierarchy. The name is table per hierarchy. Another name is actually single table strategy. So what is the mean of this single table strategy is, just try to understand. In this case, only a single table will be generated for the entire classes. Only a single table will be generated for the entire classes, and definitely in this single table, the first column is going to be ID. The second column is going to be name. The third column is going to be weight. The fourth column is going to be salary. The fifth column is going to be organization. The sixth column is going to be course. And the seventh column is going to be institution. Getting my point? This is called single table strategy. The single table strategy says that for all the super classes and subclasses, we are going to generate a single table only, or we can say that a single table is actually responsible for managing information about the superclass entity as well as for the subclass entity. Getting my point? And there is one more catch available. There is one more catch available. If I'm talking about this table, in this table, let's say that I wanted to store information about an employee. If I wanted to store information about an employee, then let's say that ID is 1, name is some ABC, weight is let's say 65.25, salary we are writing 6.5, organization name let's say that I am writing Masai. If I'm talking about the value of course and if I'm talking about value of institution, definitely this is going to be null for the employee record. Yes or no? Clear everybody? Similarly, if I'm talking about the student, then for the student, let's say this is 2. Name we are writing is BCD. Weight, for example, let's say I'm writing is 58.25. And if I'm talking about salary, then for the salary column, value will be null. For the organization, value will be null. Name of the course, for example, let's say I'm writing all respected scholars of SB 101 batch. And name of the institution, let's say that I'm writing this is Masai School. So this time, can I say whatever columns that we have created for the employee table, they are actually null. Make sense? Yes, it is. Now let me talk about the third record. Now let me talk about the third record. You have to predict, you have to tell me this record actually belong to whom. 3 number, name we are writing YUI, weight for example 76.50, and let's say the person is very smart. He does not provide any detail about the specification type. If he does not provide any detail about the specification type, any assumption, what is the type of this entity? Any assumption, what is the type of this entity? Confusion, it can be human, it can be student, it can be employee. So to overcome your confusion, to overcome your confusion, one more column will be added by the Hibernate. The name of the column is going to be D type column. For this D type column, there are two possible values right now. One of the possible value is going to be employee and another possible value is going to be student. So actual thing is that everyone, in the first D type column, it will be employee. For the second record, it will be student. Third record, if you are saving the third record using the student object or using the student entity class, then automatically student would be written here. On the other hand, if the third record you are saving using the employee object, then employee will be written here. So can I say that D type is a column that actually tell you what is the specific type of object or what is the specific entity it is? Yes or no? Shall I repeat again? I'm repeating again. I'm repeating again. Listen. When you are going to call the persist method, then definitely persist method either you will call for employee or you will call for student. Yes or no? The persist method you will call either for employee or for the student. Yes, it is. You are writing em.persist. Within the em.persist, either you will provide object of student or you will provide object of employee. If you are passing object of employee within the persist method, then automatically for the D type column, it will take the value employee. Second case, if you are calling the persist method for the student object, automatically D type column will take the value student. So can I say that D type is a kind of discriminator type that is actually containing proper or specific type of the entity in the database? And let's say if somebody is very smart, some scholar is there who says that I do not wanted to reveal my course name, I do not wanted to reveal my institution name. I will say no problem. Ultimately, you are an object of student entity class. Answer is yes. So within the persist method, whatever be the detail, it doesn't matter. If it is an object of student entity class, then automatically it will take the value student. Getting my point? How this is working? Is that clear? So D type is a column that is working for the discrimination because there is single table available. In the single table, you can have object for the student also. In the single table, you can have object for the employee also. How to differentiate? Hibernate says, I am providing you one new column. And in this new column, whatever detail you are writing, accordingly, it is going to work for you automatically. It will take the value. Clear everybody? Yes or no? So this is the first strategy. This is called single table strategy. I think name is sufficient to explain everything. That in a single table strategy, definitely a single table is going to be generated for all. And because a single table is for all, so definitely there is one column available called the D type column. The D type column is going to help you in all that. So single table, this is the default inheritance mapping strategy. This is default inheritance mapping strategy. Second thing is that performance wise, it is the best strategy. Why? Because there is a single table available. And if everything is available into a single table, then no need to apply any join. Performance will be automatically faster. Yes or no? Common thing. Third thing, you cannot use not null constraint into the subclass entity properties. I think reasonable it is. You cannot use not null constraint on the subclass entity properties. Why you cannot use not null? Because if you are using not null, let's say for course, then every employee is also required to specify the course, which is unreasonable. Yes or no? So in case of single table strategy, whatever be the subclass fields are available, for all the subclass field, null is allowed by default. Null has to be allowed always. Getting my point? That null has to be allowed always. The annotation that you wanted to use with the superclasses at the rate inheritance strategy equal to inheritance type dot single table. But as you can already see, this is the default mapping strategy. So if you are writing this annotation, then it is okay. If you are not writing this annotation, still it is okay. Clear everyone? Then the next point is available. The D type column is automatically generated such that the value of D type column is entity class itself. Value of the D type column is entity class itself. But now the situation is that let's say that if you are not happy with the default name, you are not happy with the default name that, okay, sir, this D type column, I wanted to specify my own value. Let's say that for the employee, I wanted to specify the code E. For the student, I wanted to specify the code S. Can I do this? Answer is yes. You can do this. For this thing, there is an annotation available. The name of the annotation is called discrimination column. The name of the annotation is discrimination column. So you can see, since only one table is created for the whole class hierarchy, we need a way to differentiate, distinguish, or discriminate the record to identify which class it belongs to. For this purpose, at the rate discrimination column annotation is to be used at the superclass, and at the rate discrimination value annotation is to be used at the subclass. So for example, everyone, this time, let's say that I'm going to the human class, and into the human class, I am writing discrimination column. For the discrimination column, let's say I am writing the value, the name of the value I'm writing is E type. E type is going to be, let's say that this will be your entity type. If this portion is going to be your entity type, then the name of the generated column is going to be E-type. First point is clear? Yes or no? The first value is going to be entity type. The name of the column is going to be entity type. First point is clear, everyone? Then actually you need to specify one more thing. What is the data type of the column? So for example, let's say that data type of the column is a string. Second part is also clear. You can specify data type also. 1, 2, true, false, whatever you wanted to specify, you can mention. Now there is one more annotation that you wanted to use. The annotation that you have to use is at the rate discriminator value annotation. For the discriminator value annotation, let's say that here you are writing the value capital E, and for here, let's say that you are writing the value capital S. So I think it is easier for you to understand that earlier the name of the column was D type. The name from D type is going to be changed to E type. The possible values are going to be E and S. Clear, everyone? That how you can specify the discriminator type according to your own choice. Make sense? Yes, it is. So this is what actually discriminator column is. Two more values are available, but we will discuss about the same after the break. Today, I think you are getting slightly exhausted. So I'm providing you break for some 50, 8 minutes. Okay. Take relax, then we will go for example. Shall I take example of single class strategy, single table strategy directly? Explanation is done. This time, I think it will be good to create a new project, because in this project already a lot of things are there. You will get confused ultimately if I am not creating new one. So new, creating the project. The name of the project is Maven project, and definitely next short key I told you Maven Mac, that is Maven archetype, then Q for quick start. So Maven archetype quick start is there. Then click on the next. Name of the project I'm writing is, let's say this is inheritance mapping. Okay, inheritance mapping Hibernate, HBNT Hibernate. Okay, there is nothing specific required. Then clicking on finish, and I wanted to create database with the same name also. So create database. Database is created, and I wanted to use the same database. So definitely initially the database does not have any table, and I have to deal with the dependencies. So to deal with the dependencies, it will be good to open any existing project. From the existing project, two things I wanted to take. The one thing that I wanted to have is pom.xml file. So from the pom.xml file, taking both the dependencies, then actually going to inheritance mapping Hibernate, opening the pom.xml file. First of all, I have to change the compiler version. It is 17, and previous dependency I have to remove. This part is done. Thereafter, within the src we are having main, and within the main resources then we have meta inf. Okay, so persistence.xml is one more file that is useful for me. So let me close this, and coming to src main, I wanted to create a folder. The name of the folder we wanted to put is going to be resources folder, and definitely within the resources folder it will be good to create one more folder. The name of the folder is going to be meta inf folder. Within this meta inf, I wanted to create the persistence.xml file, and into the persistence.xml file, rest of everything is same. So okay, this time I have to change the name of the database, copy, and writing the name of the database here, it will be without semicolon. And here actually I'm writing name, this is going to be inheritance connect. This name is going to be inheritance connect. Perfect, working. It is okay. Initial setup is done, and the only thing that we have to do is into the unit testing, this import statement etc is there, and definitely it will be good to remove them. It will be good to remove them. Okay, so setup is done. Finally, it's good time to update the project, and do the right click, then go to the Maven. There is option available to update the project. Force update should be checked, then click on OK. So because dependencies are available into the local repo, so no problem, project is getting updated immediately. Then test I am closing. Okay, now I'm going to take example. First of all, I wanted to create one class. The name of the class, let's say that I'm writing is human class. Onto the human class, the very first thing that I'm writing is the entity, and into the entity, then definitely at the rate id is the one column. Then I'm writing here private integer id is what exactly I am writing. I wanted to generate the values with the help of primary key. So definitely I have to write down here that is generation type dot generation type dot identity is the value that we have to mention, and we have to import the same thing also. So coming here, copy, paste, copy, and paste. Done. Then I wanted to mention next thing that is called private string name. After mentioning private string name, for example, let's say I'm writing here that is private double and weight also. Discriminator type, it will be good to specify the discriminator type also. Yes or no? This time it will be good to specify the discriminator column also. So what was the name of the annotation? The name of the annotation already given here is @discrimination column annotation. So let me copy this thing, discrimination column annotation. What happened? Why import statement is not working for this? Let me check. Let me check, no problem. Meanwhile, I will check for this. So human is there, then definitely it will be good to generate a constructor from the superclass. Now the constructor from the superclass is generated. Then I wanted to generate the constructor from the fields, and constructor from the field is also generated. Then I wanted to talk about the getter and setter method. So getter setter method is also generated here. So first class, that is human, is getting completed here. And you can see that optionally, if you wanted to use at the rate inheritance strategy, then definitely you can use the same thing also, yet it is optional. So for example, we are writing at the rate inheritance, and there is one property available. The name of the property is called strategy. For the strategy, we have to write down inheritance dot single table. This is not compulsory, optional it is. I'm making it comment, just leaving here for your memory. Clear everyone? Just leaving it here only for your memory. Human class is created. Similar to the human class, I'm going to create the new class. The name of the next class is going to be the, let's say, student class. Within the student class, so definitely the student class is going to be the subclass of human class. And I have to write down at the rate entity annotation also. After writing the at the rate entity annotation, then I'm writing here private string course. And after writing private string course, then let me write down about next thing, such that the next thing is called institution name. Institution name. Let us check institution name. Yes. Thereafter, what it is saying? It is saying entity cannot be resolved as a type. Now it's resolved as a type. Thereafter, I wanted to generate a default constructor. So I'm saying that generate a constructor from the superclass. This is the default one. And after this, I wanted to generate constructor using the field. And I wanted to select the parameterized constructor, then clicking on generate. Constructor is also getting generated. Then I wanted to generate the getter and setter method, and getter setter method for both the classes are also generated here. So class student is also covered. After the class student, I wanted to create one more class such that the name of the class is going to be the employee class. And if I'm talking about this employee class, then definitely this employee class is going to be the subclass of human class. This employee class is going to be the subclass of human class. Then clicking on finish, and human class is available. So definitely for the human class, I have to talk about the entity type. And while talking about the entity type, this time I'm talking about, let's say that this is going to be organization name. And apart from discussing about the organization name, let's say that I'm talking about private double salary is one more column that exactly I am writing. Done. Semicolon is required. I wanted to generate a default constructor, so directly I'm going to generate constructor from the superclass, only the first one. Then I wanted to generate the constructor using the field, and so I'm writing field here, and from the drop down selecting the parameters constructor. Done. Then I wanted to generate the getter and setter method, so getter setter method is also generated here. Now this part is okay, no problem. So two things I have done so far. Two things I have done so far, nothing special. Human is there, etc. is there. Thereafter, I'm coming to app.java file. Into the app.java file, the very first part is definitely to get the entity factory manager. Remember everyone, first I have to get the create entity factory manager. Thereafter, I wanted to get the entity manager. Then there is close operation also available. Yes, it is. So first thing we have to write down is persistence dot create entity factory manager, and from the persistence dot xml file, I'm taking the name. This is inheritance connect. The same name I'm writing here. And definitely because this part is going to provide me a entity factory manager. So definitely we are writing here entity factory manager EMF equal to this one. Then from this EMF, I wanted to create the entity manager. So entity manager is available for me. Same logic we are writing here entity manager EM equal to this one. So entity manager is here, and thereafter finally I am writing here EM dot. Then definitely finally we wanted to close it. So code for closing is also written here. Now create an object of student entity, or let's say that it will be good to create an object of employee entity. To create the object of the employee entity, one scholar is writing, you are so fast. Well, first everyone, into the human class, is there anything to explain? Giving you time. Into the human class, is there anything to explain? No? @entity, @id, @generated, getter setter method. Let me come to student class. How to perform inheritance, @entity, generating the constructor, possibly clear. Similarly for the employee is there. Shall I proceed further, everyone, if comfortable? Explanation is already provided to you. That's why slightly I have increased my speed, and getter setter method are there. Nothing special in this code. So I'm creating the object of the employee class. Employee emp equal to new employee. Into the employee, first I'm writing the name. Let's say that name I'm writing ABC. Weight, let's say we are writing 65.25. This is employee, so salary we are writing is 9.6. And last thing I have to specify is the organization name. Let's say that the name of the organization name is ABC company. This is the first entity that I have created. Similarly, I can create the entity of student also. Similarly, I can create the entity of student also. So I'm writing student st equal to new student. So while writing about the new student, first thing I have to mention is going to be the name. Name, let's say that I'm writing is BCD, and weight, for example, let's say I'm writing 48.25. Then it is asking for course name. So for course name, for example, let's say I'm writing Java. Then finally it is asking for the institution name, and institution name, let's say that I'm writing Masai. Next thing, I wanted to get the entity transaction. So definitely entity transaction is here. From the entity transaction, definitely I need to call the begin method. Using the same, I have to call the commit method. Then in between of them, using the em, definitely I have to call the persist method. Initially, I'm calling the persist method for the employee, and then I'm calling the persist method for the st. Clear, everyone? Simple save operation. Rest everything has to be managed by the Hibernate. Everything has to be managed by the Hibernate. Okay. So let me do one job, doing the right click, run as, and thereafter I'm clicking on Java application. Let us see if everything is okay. Please take a look at the queries. So query is here coming to Notepad. The same thing that actually initially I told you. See, create table human, create table human, D type varchar 31 not null, ID integer not null, auto increment, name varchar 25. Thereafter we have weight, organization, salary, course, and finally we are having one more thing that is called institution name. So can I say that single table is getting generated automatically such that the single table is created for the entire inheritance hierarchy? Yes, it is. So thereafter, there is insert query available, and into the insert query, some data is available. So let us check the data now. Let us check the data now. I'm writing show tables. Can you see that there is one table created? Name of the table is human. If I'm writing here DESC space human semicolon, perfect. Entire table structure is available for you. Then I'm writing here select star from human semicolon. First entry, what is the value of D type? The value of D type is employee. ID is 1, name is ABC, weight is 65.25, organization ABC company, salary 9.6. Course and institution name both are having value null. For the second entry, ID is 2, it is BCD, 48.25, organization is null, salary is null, and definitely Java and Masai is something we have. From the retype column, you are getting sufficient information about the specific type, yes or no? From the D type column, you are getting specific information because the default value of D type is a specific class name itself. The default value of D type is a specific class name itself. Next part. Next part. Actually, one more scholar is asking a doubt. See, we can add entity about the human also. You can add no problem. You can add no problem. But normally, because we are using inheritance mapping, so definitely you will always go with the subtype. Normally, you will always go with the subtype. So first part is done. First part is done. If I wanted to use the discriminator column, If I wanted to use the discriminator column, then DISC. Discriminator column is available here. Into the discriminator column, you can say that first thing is available name of the column, and second thing is available that is called discriminator type. So for example, let's say that value for the discriminator type that exactly I am writing is going to be discriminator type dot string and name of the column instead of d type. Let's say that I am renaming the column name only to type. You can rename, you can give any name, you can give any name. So this time can I say that the table structure that will be generated, there will be one column available. The name of the column will be type instead of d type, and definitely the value is going to be string. Yes or no? Even you can use any annotation, no problem. You can use any annotation, no problem. Then I have to go to the student.java, and into the student.java, again, I have to use discriminator value. Into the discriminator value, we have to provide the value. So for example, for the student, I wanted to maintain the value S, and for the employee, I wanted to maintain the value E. This part is also done. So right now, definitely a new table is going to be generated. So better to drop the previous table, yes or no? Because common table is there. So this time, I'm writing here that is drop table human semicolon. After writing drop table human semicolon, again I'm coming to app.java. After coming to app.java, let's say that I wanted to store more entities. This time the name of the entity that exactly we are writing is going to be XYZ, and here I'm writing 45.25. Then definitely the value is going to be XYZ dot company. Then create a object of student entity, and this time I'm creating one more student object. Let me call it emp1, and let me call it emp2. Again here I'm calling it st1, and here I'm calling the value that is called st2. Here for example, let's say that value I'm writing is yza, random name, anything you can write down. We are writing the weight, this is going to be, let's say that 45.63, and name of the course, for example, let's say I'm writing this is React. Name of the institution, let's say it is same, Masai. So first we are saving the data of emp1, then we are saving the data for emp2. On the same track, we can set the data for st1 also, then we can set the data for st2 also. Let me try to run this code. Right click, run as Java application. So then we are available on the console, and into the console. So this time focus on the create table. Can you see this is type? Focus on the value. For the employee, it is providing fixed value E. For the student, it is providing fixed value S. Let me come here, and after coming here, then I'm writing here describe human. After writing describe human, select star from human. Please check if everything is working properly or not. Working or not? Yes, it is. That's good. So once actually this is working, so would you love to see the select query also? Because so far this part is done, but select query is still pending. So if I'm talking about the next strategy for the select query, so let's say that this code is here, and let me create one method. Name of the method is I'm writing, let's say that save human and types. Let's say this name is save human and type. Into the save human and type, definitely I can write down all that code here. And next method I wanted to create is going to be, this is static void show human and types. Okay, into the static void show humans and types, definitely the first two things I have to take as it is. Thereafter em.close, I have to take it as it is. And then if I'm talking about the entity managers, then definitely entity managers is there. See, can I use JPQL statement? Yes or no? Can I use JPQL statement? Yes, answer is yes. So for example, let's say I'm writing, and this is that select query equal to, then I'm writing select h from human, human. This is the only query that exactly I am writing. So this time select query is available, then definitely I have to use query equal to then em dot create query. Into the create query, definitely string SQL statement is there, and nothing special to type here. Minute. So this time we are writing select query. Definitely spelling of select is wrong. So query is created here. From this query, definitely I'm going to get a result set. And if I'm talking about the result list, then definitely we are writing here list of. We are writing here list of human here. So when I'm writing list of human, so simple point that I'm asking, is it actually containing object of human or it is containing object of a specific type of human? Option 1, this list is containing object of human. Option number 2, this list is containing object of employee and student both. Update please. Option number 2, definitely. So if I wanted to iterate the query, then definitely I can iterate. So for example, let's say I'm writing here for human age colon human list. After writing for human age colon human list for the human detail, can I print the value of get ID? Yes, I can print the value of get ID. After printing the value of get ID, can I print the value of name? Yes, you can print the value of name. After printing the value of name, can I print the weight also? Yes, I can print. But if I'm talking about the remaining two types or remaining information, then definitely remaining information is subjected to specific type. Yes or no? Remaining information is subjected to specific type. If remaining information is subjected to specific type, then see what exactly I am writing. Did you remember this operator, instance of operator? Yes, it is. And definitely this is going to be either object of student or this is going to be object of human. Yes or no? Yes, it is. And can I perform downcasting? Can I perform downcasting? Remember the syntax upcasting downcasting. Once the upcasting downcasting is available for you, then can you provide the additional detail? Yes, we can provide the additional detail. So how to provide the additional detail? Again, colon symbol plus. Then definitely for this, I wanted to get the course name. And after getting the course name, then definitely I wanted to get the institution name also. Same logic I have to apply for employee also. Same logic I have to apply for employee also. So we are writing get salary, and similarly, let's say that we are talking about the next thing that is called get organization name. Clear everybody? How to print? Yes or no? Yes, it is. So this method, save human and type, we have already used this method. So I'm not going to use the same method again. So just calling I have placed here, then there is a semicolon available to show that yes, we have done with the calling. Semicolon is here to show that yes, we have done the column. Then we are talking about save student and human type. And this is what actually I am writing here. Doing the right click, run as, then we are talking about Java application. Query is available in front of you. And from this query, can you see that entire record is available? Everything is from a single table. Everything is from a single table. So this is the first example, or this is the first strategy that we have done. This strategy is actually referred as single table strategy. Any ask in the single table strategy? I think this is the simplest one, very easy to understand for anyone. Clear it is. For the discriminator value, two more values are available. One value is called null. Null means if the entity object does not belong to any specific type, then go for the null. And let's say that if entity object is not null and it does not belong to any of the specified type, then go for the not null. But I think you you are not going to use it anywhere in future. Better to focus on the important concept. Possibly this is going to be the last one. The next topic is available, or the next strategy is available. This is called join table strategy. The next strategy is available, that is called join table strategy. What is the mean of join table strategy? See, every class has its own table. Means this time, can I say that separate table will be generated for the superclass as well as for the subclass? Yes or no? Into the join table strategy, separate table will be generated for the superclass and separate table will be generated for the subclass. And if I'm talking about the association between the superclass and subclass, then definitely for the association between the superclass and subclass, again, foreign key column is going to work, like we have seen in the case of address and default customer. Same logic will be there. So you can see every table has its own table. Every class is having its own table. The table of superclass has column according to attribute present in the superclass. The subclass is mapped to its own table, and the subclass has column according to the attribute present in their class. Additionally, there will be an ID column that will be used for joining the table of superclass to the subclass. The annotation to be used with the superclass is @inheritance strategy equal to inheritance type dot join. So this time we have to use @inheritance type dot join. Otherwise, our code will not work. Yes or no? Because this is not default strategy. So you have to specify the value. Next point is every subclass is mapped to its own table. The subclass has column according to attribute present in their class. Additionally, there is an ID column is available. By mistake, this line is getting repeated. The @primary key join column annotation is used to change the name of the column for subclass. Okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. But everyone, simple logic. This time, if I'm talking about the select query, then definitely the subquery is going to be very, very slow because join operations are there. Yes or no? In case of join table strategy, separate table is for superclass, separate table is for the subclass. But you are actually when writing the select query into the JPQL statement, then behind the scene, join operation will be performed to fetch the data. And because join operation is there to fetch the data, so definitely, you will find slightly performance penalty. Make sense, everybody? What is the mean of join table is? So this is the second strategy available. The second strategy is called join table strategy. And into the join table strategy, simple logic that each table, or you can say that each class has its own table. Each class has its own table, and definitely the tables are associated with the foreign key column. This is actually associated with the foreign key column. And definitely in the select query, join operations are there. Two join operations are there. So definitely select operation will be slow. Getting my point, everyone? This is the summarization. And definitely if I'm talking about the annotation, then annotation is @inheritance strategy equal to inheritance type dot joint is what you have to use. This is the overall summarization. Directly, it will be good to jump to a example. Yes or no? This will give you a more sense. So let me give you how exactly we are going to proceed. Let me give you a sense how we are going to proceed. Closing this tables app.java is something that is useful for me, and into the app.java making this line comment also. Okay. So we are into the Hibernate. I'm creating one class. So simple strategy. For example, let's say that name of the class is science student. If I'm talking about a science student, then can I say this is not a complete class? Because practically we have to specify whether it is maths or it is from biology. Yes or no? Yes. So science student class is available. Then I'm talking about here @entity. After writing @entity, then definitely @id is one more thing that is required. Then I'm talking about @generated value. For the @generated value, we are talking about the strategy. And definitely this is going to be generation type dot identity. The same import statement I have to add here also. Then definitely the first thing is going to be private integer ID. The next thing is going to be, let's say that I'm talking about marks. So while talking about the marks, let's say that I'm talking about physics marks, not practical, not theory, combined it is. Similarly, I'm talking about the next thing, so that the next thing is called chemistry marks. And if I'm talking about the data type of them, then definitely data type of them is going to be double. Let me talk about the constructors. Initially, definitely it is good to generate a default constructor. So default constructor is getting generated here. After generating the default constructor, then I wanted to talk about the fields, and definitely to talk about the fields, there is no superclass available. ID is not required. This is done. Then I wanted to have the getter setter method, and getter setter method is also done here. Okay, well, into the first class, any doubt to anyone? Any doubt to anyone? Shall I proceed further? So then the next part, okay, one part is done. I wanted to create a subclass of this class. Control N. I wanted to create a class. Name of the class I'm writing is math student, such that this math student is going to be subclass of science student. Clicking on finish, clicking on finish. We are writing at the rate entity. After writing at the rate entity, then I need to write down about one variable. Let's say I'm writing this is going to be private double math marks. Then I'm going here, then talking about constructor. Initially, definitely, I wanted to create a default constructor. After creating the default constructor, I wanted to generate constructor using the field also. So this part is also done. Then I wanted to generate the getter setter method also, and generation of getter setter method is also done. Alt Shift H J math marks, and this is also done. Because I wanted to use inheritance type join table, so I have to use at the rate inheritance. Into the at the rate inheritance, then I wanted to specify the strategy, and definitely the strategy is going to be inheritance type dot joined. Make sense, everybody? This time it is compulsory to specify, you cannot skip, because there is no default value. Clear? Third thing is available. So similarly, I have created one class that is math student. Similar to the math student class, I wanted to create one more class. Let's say that the name of the class or name of the class I'm writing is bio student. The bio student class is again going to be the subclass of science student class, and thereafter we are talking about finish. After talking about the finish, then definitely at the rate entity is available here. Then I'm talking here private double, and field is bio marks. I wanted to generate the constructor from the superclass. So initially with the default constructor, I'm happy. Thereafter, I wanted to generate the constructor from the fields. This time I want both. Then I wanted to generate the getter setter method. No. I wanted to generate the getter and setter method. So getter setter method is also generated this time. Oh, these floating panels are actually sometimes disturbing. Hmm. This part is also done. So once again, giving you time into the science student class. Any problem? Into the science student class, any problem? Waiting for your response. Into the science student class, any problem? Simple. If I'm talking about the math student class, simple subclass, inheritance rule, any problem? Similarly, if I'm talking about the bio student, any problem? Simple. Shall I go to app.java? Yes, it is. So into the app.java, coming here, like we were saving the human and its type, similarly, we can save student and its type, or it will be good to say that save science student and type. So while talking about the science student or type, definitely this is inheritance connect, create entity manager will be there. This time I wanted to create a object of math student class. I wanted to create object of math student class. So we are writing math student st1 equal to new. Then again we are writing math student. While talking about the math student, let's say physics marks out of 100 it is 76, chemistry marks it is 88, and then we are talking about math marks. Let's say that this is 78. This is the first number case that actually we have done. I'm creating about one more math student. Let's say that I'm talking it math student 2. This is somewhat who is slightly weak. So he is actually taking the marks somewhat like this. Similarly, I wanted to create object of bio student. So for the bio student, this time if I'm talking about the name of the name of the class is bio student. Let me give the name. This is going to be st3 equal to new bio student. And this scholar has scored very good marks in the biology, 100 out of 100. Then bio student. Then again, we are talking st4 equal to new. Again, we are talking about the bio student. So this is going to be 77, 58, and then we are writing 97. At the time of saving, so we are facing ST1, then ST2, then definitely ST3, then finally we are talking about ST4. Finally, we are talking about ST4. This part is also done. So shall I try to execute this code? Then we will talk about the select operation also. Save this part, right click, run as Java application. Let us see if everything is okay or not. Query, 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 query. But I think it will be good to directly jump into the table structure. So first, I'm coming to MySQL. Into the MySQL, I'm writing the query. The query is going to be show tables. Into the show tables, can you see there is one table available science student, one is available math student, and one is available bio student? Yes or no? One is available, that is called science student. One is available, that is called math student, and one is also available, that is called bio student. I'm going to describe each and everything in a single shot. So first thing, can you see that there is ID column available such that the ID for science student is auto increment and the same column is working as foreign key in the both tables? Yes or no? The same column is working as foreign key in both the tables. How exactly I am calling about the foreign key? Can you see foreign key constraint here? Can you see foreign key constraint here? Yes, it is. Can you see foreign key constraint here also? So this is what your join table is. This is what your join table is. Yeah, because I told you for every inheritance strategy, a new database structure will be generated. In case of single table strategy, how many tables were there? Only one table. In case of joint table strategy, how many tables are there? Sir, if we are having 3 classes, then there will be 3 tables. So it is depending on your requirement. What do you wanted to select? Clear everyone? Completely depending on your requirement that what do you wanted to select. Yet joint table is something that is popular. Now I'm writing the query. So for example, let's say I am writing here select star from. What is the name of the first table? The name of the first table I am writing is science student. Hitting enter. So you can see that ID 1, 2, and there is chemistry marks, physics marks are available there. Then I'm talking about the next part, such that the next part is going to be math student. Then the third part is also available, and such that the third part is going to be bio student. So this time for the math student, can you see that first 2 records are actually being served as foreign key here? For the bio student, the last 2 records are being used for the foreign key here. Yes or no? Joint table strategy clear? If you are not happy with the foreign key column name, then definitely you can change the foreign key column name also. See, the primary key join column annotation is used to change the name of column for subclass that is used for join operation. And how to do this job? Very, very simple stuff that you have to do. The only thing you have to do is directly go to the subclass mathstudent.java. After going to mathstudent.java, directly you have to talk about primary key join column. Into the primary key join column, then again you have to specify the name. So for example, let's say that I am writing the name math underscore student underscore ID. For the biology, again we are writing this is going to be bio underscore student underscore ID. So this time I have to drop the previous table structure, yes or no? Because table structure is changed. And parallelly, if I wanted to write down the code for select query, then definitely I can write down the code for the select query also. So while writing the code for the select query, copying this part. After copying this part, then again I'm coming here. So this time we are writing so show signs and subtypes. Show signs and types. Again same thing. Create entity inheritance demo is there. So this time let's say that I am writing select SSS from science student SS. Alias name, it can be any. You can write down even a single S also, no problem. And this time if I'm talking about the name of the class, then definitely here name of the class I wanted to write down as science student. Instead of human list, let me change the name only to the list so that I can use it further. This time here again I'm going to find out the students of science student. Once the student of science student are available for us, then definitely I'm having get ID. And after the get ID, it will be good to talk about physics marks. It will be good to talk about chemistry marks. And here it is going to be instance of math student. Here actually we can talk about if H is a student, math student, so we are doing the downcasting, and here actually only we are going to get the marks of math. So don't you think that copy paste kind of work I'm doing later on? It's a kind of copy paste work later on. So bio student, and again bio student. Thereafter we have to talk about get bio marks, and after talking about the get bio marks, then we are writing here done. Done. Query dot result set is there, and copy. After copy, I'm writing here, and finally, it will be good to drop the previous tables. Answer is yes. I have to drop the previous tables. So all the three tables are required to be dropped. So I have to write down drop table, table name. Again, here I'm writing drop table, table name. Here also I'm writing drop table, table name. Hitting enter, hitting enter. And two tables are actually deleted. Then finally I'm deleting this table also. Again I'm writing here show tables. While writing show table semicolon, can you see that right now no table is available for join table strategy? Neither science is there, neither science maths is there, nor the bio table is there. Let me try to run this code. Right click, run as. There is some mistake. Semicolon is not here. Right click, run as Java application. Right click, run as Java application. Finally, some exception is there. It says that no default constructor is available for math student. I forgot to define the default constructor here. Let me check. Oops, sorry. I forgot to define the default constructor here. Unfortunately, tables are created, so I have to write down the drop queries again. Oof. Now okay. Now okay. Then coming here, I'm into the app.java. Right click, run as Java application. We are on console. Fortunately, no problem this time. No problem this time. So listen everybody, the create table query is 100% as it is, but into the create table query, can you see this time column name is changed? Math student marks, math student ID, bio student ID, yes it is. So I'm coming here, and after coming here, let's say that if I am writing the describe query again. So I was talking about the same @primary key join column, working perfect, yes or no? Then if you wanted to find out the record, so definitely to find out the record, for example, let's say select star from science student, select star from math student, and select star from bio student. Working? Yes or no? So same it is, just actually inheritance strategy it is. Third and fourth strategy is also available. The one strategy that is called join table, and another strategy is also one strategy is table per class, and then this is called mapped superclass strategy. There is one special advice I am having for the tomorrow's class. Tomorrow is the last class of this block, and we are having some handsome amount of content to cover. Not exactly lengthy, but something that you can say that requires some time to get cemented, like what happened today. If you are not coming tomorrow by reading the pre-class notes, pre-class video, and PPT, then please do not have so much expectation for yourself for the tomorrow class as well as for the evaluation. Getting what I wanted to say? I think you are good in reading between the lines. So tomorrow class is very vital. Please be prepared before coming into the class. Otherwise, do not expect so much for yourself. Clear cut statement. That's all for the today. If you wanted to ask anything, you can. Otherwise, please go to the LMS platform and fill the feedback form. And once filled with the feedback form, then write done on the chat. That's all.